What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike. Today I just woke up from another massive MK677 induced coma. And so it got me thinking about one of the requests that I've had. I was asking for content ideas a while back, and somebody requested that I do a video on SARMs. I can't really do a video necessarily on SARMs themselves because I don't take any. So I was going to talk a little bit about today about why I don't take them. I may have a video coming up soon. In fact, I just sent a direct message to a good friend of mine that I met through this channel. He's another one of the guys that's been fucking instrumental in helping me through my most recent health scare. I won't name him yet until he decides whether or not he wants to participate, but he's in the comments quite a bit, and he has a little bit different approach to long-term anabolics than I do. He runs low doses, and his cycle does include some SARMs that he's actually recommended a couple of the different ones to me. I had somebody actually, I think it was on my wife's channel the other day, recommending Ostarine. Do you remember why they were recommending that? Sarah?
What?
Why were they recommending Ostarine to you? She gonna look. Somebody was recommending that she use Ostarine for some purpose. I can't remember what it was. Basically, every time I've ever seen somebody, my experience thus far with SARMs is typically they get a bad name out the gate from the SARM goblins. You know, at least that's what they used to call them at the gym I used to lift at. You know, it's all the 16 to 18-year-old kids that shouldn't be on gear, period. Well, technically speaking, shouldn't be on gear, period. And they have this idea that SARMs are safer and or they get access to them because they're quasi-legal. It's kind of a gray market thing. And so from what I've seen, I have never seen any of these kids that are using SARMs only ever making anything that I even felt like were remotely remarkable gains. I've read some about RAD 140, LGD, something or other, and I've seen people who seem to like to add this in with regular, like what I consider real anabolics. Because obviously when we're talking about SARMs, what we're talking about is a selective androgen receptor modulator. Most of these compounds are not steroid molecules in any way. I think they're ligand molecules or something. Again, I have not researched this at length. I was looking up Ostarine the other day because it was mentioned to my wife. And it seems that more or less, anytime you're dealing with SARMs or even peptides, like I'm using MK677, it seems that basically the motive originally for the production of these drugs is always that scientists are looking for a way to replicate anabolism in the absence of androgenism. So they want to try to find ways to build muscle effectively at no cost. How can we build muscle without causing benign prostate hypertrophy? How can we build muscle without messing with the hair follicles, causing acne? Basically, all of the DHT side of things is effectively what these SARMs seem to be targeted at doing. The thing first and foremost for me is that these drugs are not brand new, but they are relatively new, and none of them have come to market. Nobody's bothered to bring any of these drugs to market, which to me tells you something. I mean, basically every single one of the conventional steroids that I have deployed in my life, at some point in time, even trenbolone, who you know, the idiots in the community will say, oh, well, trenbolone was never intended for human purposes. Bullshit. Bullshit. Parabolin was made by, Nexa, I can't think of it right now, a French lab, and it was prescribed to women at 75 milligrams per week. So parabolin absolutely was used in humans. Yes?
He was saying you could use it instead of the Primo.
Yeah.
To get a good mood, sexually aroused, but not that beastly, fewer side effects.
Yeah, so somebody recommended Ostarine for my wife as an alternative to Primo that it would give her sexual, a better libido, better mood, but without all of the beastiness of Primo, which again is always what it seems to be when I come across these SARMs. So getting back to my point, even Trenbolone has been used in humans. D-bol, Deca is extensively studied. Testosterone is extensively studied. Masteron is extensively studied. Primobolan. So my attitude towards SARMs is, honestly, I'm scared of them. That's what it ultimately boils down to. I just don't feel like that these things have been around long enough for us to know the true long-term side effects. That may be seem panicky to some of you, and it probably is. There probably is no long-term side effects. But one of the things that has always made me feel comfortable about my steroid use is when I see Arnold Schwarzenegger still walking around being perfectly fucking healthy. Lou Ferrigno. I mean, there's lots of guys. There's been millions of people who have used old school anabolics for decades on end and live to tell the tale about it. And so with SARMs, we just don't have that body of information. And there are FDA approved drugs that come and go all the time. There was a drug, I think it was called Celebrex. I think it was a heart drug. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it had something to do with the heart. I remember recommending this drug to my dad. I'm always trying to get my dad to take different things, and he's like an he doesn't want to take any kind of medicines kind of guy. And he started taking Celebrex for whatever it was treating back in the day. And then it got taken off the market by the FDA because it was giving people fucking heart attacks. So here's a drug that went all the way through FDA trials, was released by a pharmaceutical company, was put into mainstream population, was taken by hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people, or millions of doses at least, all over the country and possibly the world. And then 10 years down the road, they found that it was causing heart attacks and they pulled it off the market. And so that's the kind of shit that makes me wary of trying any one of the newer drugs. It's something that I cannot possibly know when I'm fucking around with MK677. So like I was researching MK677 the other night because I'm back on and I am loving every second of it. When I started MK677, my morning weight was about 93 pounds in the morning. I've been on for 4 days now, I think, and my morning weight was up to 201 this morning. So I've gained, 8 pounds in like 4 days of being back on the MK77. It clearly is pushing water back into all of the cells of my body. I'm staying very vascular. I'm staying my midsection is looking great. It seems to just flood the cells with glycogen and water. And so I'm blowing right back up. I was up to almost 204 last night. I'm guessing I may hit 205 tonight. So this drug at face value seems to be a miracle drug, which got me thinking, why am I able to get it a gray market? Why did no one bring this drug to market? So I started researching the history of MK677, and I found out that primarily what it's been researched for is trying to enhance growth in children that are not growing normally. So basically, they tried to use it in place of injectable growth hormone, which they've been using in children for some time now. And so, obviously, having to inject growth hormone in a child, 1 to 2 times a day is not ideal. And so here comes this ghrelin agonist that releases substantial amounts of growth hormone, and it's orally available, it's orally bioavailable. So it looks like could be a really good treatment modality for children with stunted growth. And so they tried to bring it to market. They did trial studies to see, hey, could this replace growth hormone, human growth hormone, as a treatment modality? And what they found out was that in the control group, over whatever the measured period was, a year or some number of years, the placebo kids grew 4.5 centimeters. And the kids that were given MK677 grew 6.1 centimeters. But the kids that were given human growth hormone grew 11.1 centimeters. So they grew almost twice as tall as the kids on the MK677, without the side effect of having massively enhanced appetite. So since the vast majority of our society has an obesity problem, not an underweight problem, in medical practice, the MK677 did not prove to be a better option than what was already on the market. And so they stopped doing tests on it. I think they're still doing some testing, but that's why, from the research that I've done, that's why as of yet no one has brought this drug to market, because it doesn't really fit in anywhere. And I think that you'll find that this is the reason that drugs like RAD140 and LGD and Ostarine and every other one of these SARMs, they set out to find a drug that would be as potent or more potent than an anabolic steroid with fewer side effects. And it just isn't there. From my understanding, a lot of these drugs, from reading forums, they're supposed to not be hepatotoxic, and people are taking RAD and LGD and both reporting hepatotoxicity. They're supposed to be more female safe. I've read tons of forum posts from women who virilized very rapidly on, I think it was LGD, I can't remember if it was RAD or LGD. But basically, there seems to be no good consensus that these things either A, consistently work, or certainly work any better than the anabolics that are already available, that are well studied, that are time tested and proven, and that are just known to be effective. So for me, if I was just starting in the game and I was scared of needles, or I didn't have sources, or I didn't want to risk legal issues, maybe if I did it again, I might have tried a SARM first, but probably not. There's just really, to me, like I said, until I see the data that my friend may put forth for why he chooses to use particular SARMs, and I think the SARMs he uses sort of like ancillary drugs, not for the purposes of gaining any size. I don't think that there is any data yet that these drugs are more effective or any safer than the staple drugs that we've all known to come and use. So why, what SARM would I use that's going to replace testosterone, DECA, Masteron, Trenbolone? Like, I would love to know the SARM that's going to totally replace one of those drugs. And by replace, I mean it has to give me all of the positives and none of the negatives at less cost for less overall negative health consequences. To date, I have not seen that this drug exists. And so it seems to me that there is a marketing machine right now that's running wild in the steroid community because of the fact that these drugs are currently gray market. You can currently get the vast majority of them legally. So it's just basically they're the pro hormones of today. I fell into the pro-hormone scandal back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. I tried 1AD, there was like a undesolinate, 1UD, some shit. I tried the methyl 1 testosterone that ultimately brought down the pro-hormone market. The methyl 1 testosterone was probably the only pro-hormone that really worked. Of course, it came with a host of negative side effects. I went through several bottles of M1T before they made all of that illegal. But nothing that I took over the counter back in the day, none of those pro hormones could even hold a fucking candle to any of the anabolic steroids that I have sourced and used in my my late 30s and early 40s. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're snake oil. I think clearly they do something. Clearly they have muscle building properties. I just don't think that there's really any evidence that they are better than anabolics. I would love to hear the story of the guy who turned pro on SARMs only. And so if you can't turn pro on SARMs only, then why use them at all? You know, I mean, what again, unless my buddy can put forth evidence that there's, and I forget the SARMs he's mentioned. Let me scroll here real quick. I think one of them had to do with offsetting some blood pressure issues, or maybe some lipid. I think it was lipids. I'm probably never gonna find it. It was way. I think he recommended one for my lipid profile, and maybe one of, I think one of them was SR9 something, and he may have had GW 50516, whatever the fuck that is. I can't remember. Maybe I'll pin a comment about it, or somebody, you know, we could discuss this in the comments. But as to the original question, that is the reason that I don't do SARMs. Number one, I don't know them to be safe long term. Number two, I don't think that there's any evidence that they are any better, and are almost always certainly worse than an anabolic that I already have easy access to. And the final thing that I'll throw in this video is, again, like MK677 is not a SARM. It's a ghrelin agonist. You've got drugs like YK11, which I think is also not a steroid molecule in any way. I can't remember. I think it's a follistatin inhibitor, myostatin inhibitor. That one I am seriously considering trying. But again, I'm scared of it. Honestly, I'm scared. I've read good things. I've read really scary bad things. Some people have said that it made them feel fucking nuts, and they thought they were going to rip tendons off the bone. Obviously, all of this is very dose dependent, so I'll probably start at a very low dose. But if I should choose to run YK11, then I will be sort of breaking my own rule and choosing to experiment with something that is not well researched and reported. A couple of YouTubers have said they think YK11 might be one of the worst drugs one of the most dangerous. I think it might have been Russo that said that he felt like it might be one of the most dangerous compounds on the market right now. So I'll definitely do more research. In the comments, please feel free to drop your SARM experiences. Give us the good, the bad, the ugly. Did you gain weight? Is there a SARM that you feel like is more potent or more efficient than one of the cookie cutter steroids that I like to talk about in this channel? What are your experiences with the non-SARMs, new age drugs like MK, YK, all the GWs, SRs, all the fucking, all the codes? You know, I'm interested in obviously deploying all of the weapons that are at our disposal. But again, man, for you know, to be as crazy as a lot of you guys think I am, my craziness it's a measured craziness. You know, like even street drugs, like these things have been around forever. We know exactly what long-term coke, meth, you know, all the this stuff is not. This stuff's been around for fucking decades, centuries, you know, in some cases. And so I like to have that little bit of added comfort that there have been many people come and go before me who were able to either party with the compound, temporarily use a compound, rely on a compound long term, and know and have some idea that this is you know, reasonable to do. Like I said, from the gate, this has always been about making conscientious decisions with my health. And until I see more data, the drug has to be very appealing. And that's one of those things where on paper, when we talk about what YK11 is designed to do, that is very appealing to me. And so it might prove to be appealing enough that I decide to give it a try against my better judgment of not knowing what the long-term effects are. One of my buddies, you'll see him in the comments a lot, Kavalser, he is basically got me convinced to try mint. Like I swore I wasn't gonna do it, and this dude is on me. He makes a very compelling argument, and so you know, for those of you who've been wanting to get my take on mint, that is probably going to be coming up sooner rather than later. So we'll see though. I gotta cut this short. I gotta go meet somebody. So there you have it. That's my take on SARMs and why I am not currently using any of them. I am open to be swayed in the comments. So please, everybody pile up. Give us your 2 cents on this one. You don't have to worry about me yelling at you because I don't know. I have zero experience with it, and I've done very little research. So this is one of those few videos where the likelihood of me attacking you and calling you an idiot are low. Because really, I'm the idiot here. I really don't know enough about it. So there you have it. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.